I think I would go back to that money and what you achieve and what you accomplish somehow measures your value, your worth, somehow measures your success.
Why do we all feel like it does? Because that's what we've been taught.
Well, it's definitely modeled in our world. And there's a long answer to that one, and there's a short answer to that one. But I'm going to do the middle answer.
Okay.
We've all had experiences growing up where when we're born, we're just fully who we are. Look at babies, look at puppies, look at kids. They're just, and that's why they so delight us and joy us, because they're just so fully alive and free and real, and whatever they're feeling. And then we grow up and we learn, we look outside of ourselves for how we're supposed to be. We get messages for what we're supposed to be. We learn from the adults what they've taught us. And we adopt it because that's what we need for their approval, their this, that, and the other thing. We have experiences that hurt or don't make sense to us, and our little brains try and make meaning of them, but the meaning we always make is always going to somehow be some meaning about us. And that's just human development. The problem is, and me too, is we're all now adults in big bodies still living out the little kid messages and beliefs and meanings and interpretations we created or we learned thinking that they're the truth. Mm-hmm. Never bringing conscious awareness, our experience, how they land in us, what they created, never bringing them in, never questioning them, never bringing them to the spotlight. One of the big ones that I like to use, not money related, but most people grew up hearing the message, you can't go out and play until your work is done or your homework is done or your chores are done. Now, as a parent teaching a kid, you're teaching them some important skills, delayed gratification, discipline, etc. That's the purpose of that message. How many adults are still living their lives run by that message? So either they don't go out and play because the work is never done, or when they're playing, they're feeling guilty because they should be working. Hello? Maybe we need to do the inner work of aligning ourselves with the truth of the universe and the fact that we were created to be abundant, to grow and prosper and thrive in a world of abundance that we're meant to participate in and contribute to. So that's a short answer. It could go a lot deeper than that, but that's one answer.
No, that's a great answer. That's a great answer. And as I was listening to you talk too, I was thinking about the experience of being an entrepreneur, especially if you go into entrepreneurship without having any experience with it, right? Like I didn't come from a family of entrepreneurs. I didn't have a background in marketing and sales. I didn't know anything really. I literally bought business for dummies or like entrepreneurship for dummies or something. And that was where I started. And you get all of these messages about like, you need this, you need this, you need to have this. You and I talk about this a lot with social media. And we talk about this in the Powerful Women Rising community, right? You got to be on all the platforms. You need to post 3 times a day. You need to engage for 15 minutes before you post, or the algorithm's not going to you always need more. You need all the things. And that shows up in so many areas of our lives and also in entrepreneurship till we get to the point that we trust ourselves enough to say, okay, I can make a decision about what I need. I don't have to listen to all of this noise about like, you need this, you need this, you need this. I was having this conversation with somebody the other day because she's like, I want to sign up for your community, but I'm also thinking about doing this. And I'm also thinking about doing this. And I said, before you do any of that, why don't you sit down and make a list of everything you currently have, whether that is a skill, experience, a resource, a software, whatever it is. And then you can actually see like, are there gaps or do you just need to keep doing what you're doing? And I think most of us don't think of it that way. We just think, I need to do the next thing. I need to do this. I need to do more. And that's where the exhaustion and the burnout comes in, right?
Yes. And you just tapped onto one of my most important life lessons, abundant lessons, etc., is when we start to do that and we start to listen to what's so for us, what resonates for us, what creates peace and ease and freedom and aliveness in us. We're learning to trust ourselves, but I would say we're also learning at some level, even if we don't call it that, to trust in the creator of this universe and the design of this universe.
Yeah.
We're learning to trust in something bigger than our individual efforts, etc. And that's all part of abundance. So, so, so important.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think people can relate to that, whether they are, I have a friend who calls it Gus, God, universe, spirit.
Yep.
Regardless of whether what you're talking about, I think we can all look at, one of my very first coaches said, if you don't believe in anything greater than you, look at what is happening in nature, right? Trees are growing, animals are reproducing, they're finding water where there is none. They're, the earth is somehow turning and we're not getting flung off. Like there's something happening.
Heck, we're breathing oxygen that we had nothing to do with making.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So that's a big part of it. And the other thing is going back to the burnout and the exhaustion and all this. When I was in college, my college roommate gave me a book of daily reflections, spiritual reflections called God Calling. And there are some of them that I've read that book for years and years, but there are some of them that even back then I went, so somehow I knew it had a message. But one of my favorite ones, and this is one of the hardest ones for entrepreneurs, I share it with my clients a lot. There's one meditation and it starts, imagine the divine Gus, whoever it is, speaking to you, and it says, rest, knowing all is so safe in my hands. Without the knowledge that I am working for you, rest is trust, ceaseless activity is distrust. Without the knowledge that I am working for you, you do not rest. And for my people, that's one of the biggest and most important practices, lessons of abundance that they need, because we are so wired. Got to do more, got to do more. I got to make it happen. I got like this. And when we're doing that, we're getting tighter and tighter, which means we're not open. And when we can rest and trust, now we open. And that's when things can start to show up and open up and ideas can come. And that's the magic.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So if people are listening to this and they're thinking, okay, I'm on board. Something you've said has resonated to me. I think I might have an issue with scarcity or abundance, or I'm at least open to the idea of thinking about it. Where is the best place for them to start?
Go to my website, watch that 4-minute video. That's right. Click on the link at the top of the page and watch this 4-minute video. And if it already starts to I think I see myself in that video, then please opt in and watch the rest of them. And by the time you're done with that, you're either going to get archetype of scarcity. Yeah, let's try a new model. That would be the first place I'd start. If you're a person who likes to dive in deeper, I got a Foundation for Abundance program where you can have a discovery session, but I would just start there, because you're either going to go, you're speaking to me, or not.
Yeah. Yeah. Your videos are great. And you mentioned your Foundations for Abundance course. I want to talk about that a little bit before we go into our rapid fire round, because I have taken your Foundations for Abundance course. It's brilliant. It's amazing. I will say I went into it to support you. I'm thinking I don't know, this isn't really, I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm going to do this for Teresa. And I was shocked in how much I learned, how many different ways I found to think about not just money, so much more than money, things just everything, my relationships, my health, my business, and my business, not in terms of how much money is my business making, but so many of my business decisions and the way that I make those decisions. And you are such a brilliant teacher, and you're so good with metaphors and analogies. I love a metaphor and analogy, but half the time I come up with one. You guys in the Powerful Women Rising community are like, what? No, that wasn't good one. And just the way that you have of explaining things and making things make sense is so great. So can you just talk a little bit about that course, who it's for, what they're going to get?
It's an 8-week live interactive small group Zoom program. It's very practical. It's very experiential. It's very interactive. Two quick stories, metaphors to explain it. I live in a 160-year-old farmhouse. The back end that was added on later is sinking because they never put a real foundation under it. They just put a cement slab, which is dangerous in Wisconsin. So it's sinking, sinking, sinking. It's for people who, when they look at their life, their business, their bank account, their motivation, if they're feeling like I'm trying to hold it together, I'm trying to hold it up, but I feel like I'm losing ground and I'm sinking, It's for you, so we can find out where the cracks are and where the weaknesses are, and we can give you the pieces you need to create a foundation that's going to support you. It's also for you, thinking of another house, a neighbor's house back in the Twin Cities, when we lived there. When their family started to grow, they didn't want to leave the neighborhood, but they needed more space. So they had a 1-story, very nice house, and they thought, well, let's add a second story. And so they were going through all the plans, they had the vision, the dream, and then the inspectors came and said, your foundation is weak, sinking, crumbling, whatever. You can't build more until you address that. And I think that this foundation class is also for people who it's like, I got a pretty good life. I got a pretty good business. I'm achieving success, etc. But what if, unbeknownst to you, there's some weaknesses, there's some cracks, there's some whatever. When you start to like go for more and go for more, you don't want them to show up then.
Mm-hmm.
So this foundation program is for you. If you're really committed to more, let's just take a look and see if there might be some subtle ways scarcity is going to weaken, not support that growth that you want. I think it's for both people, and it's going to apply to money, but it's really more the foundation of how you approach your life. Is it rooted in real, lasting abundance? Or is it, unbeknownst to you, weakened or built upon